Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is July 3rd, 2025, and the Spanish Football Referees Association have announced that they could be personally joining the Negreira case. Also, Joan Laporta met with UEFA's president Alexander Ceferin. And finally, Barcelona could see a new influx of cash from a former player. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and we'll begin this video with the sad and tragic news that Liverpool's Diogo Jota passed away today at the age of 28, where he was involved in a motor vehicle accident in Spain. He was riding with his brother Andre Silva, and as they were trying to overtake another vehicle, the tire of their vehicle exploded. They lost control, they crashed, and the vehicle caught on fire. And even though first responders did arrive at the scene, unfortunately, they were not able to save Diogo and his brother Andre, and the two of them passed away today. Now, Diogo leaves behind a wife who he recently married and 3 young children. So may Diogo Jota rest in peace. So may his brother Andre Silva, and may their family find light and strength in these very, very dark times. Now on to the next bit of news, because the Spanish Football Referees Association have released a statement where they are considering personally joining the case of Negreira and also the case against Real Madrid TV. Now, the Spanish Football Referees Association, otherwise known by its Spanish initials AESAF, announced that they could join the Negreira case. As you know, Barcelona have been being investigated for the past 2 years for alleged sports corruption, because they were paying the company of one of the former referees of the Committee of Referees, Jose Maria Enriquez Negreira, for refereeing reports. Of course, 2 years into this investigation, there has been no evidence and no proof whatsoever that Barcelona influenced the competition, that they bribed any referees or any such thing. And today, ASAF have announced that they could be joining the case, but not against Barcelona, but instead to prove that there was indeed no kind of influence on the competition and that no referees favored Barcelona during the period that they were paying the former vice president of the Committee of Referees, Jose Maria Enriquez Negreira. Now, ASF have also announced that they could be joining or starting a case against Real Madrid TV, because as you know, for the past 2 to 3 seasons, every weekend before every match, Real Madrid TV have been releasing documentaries where they attack the referee in charge of their upcoming match to make it seem like all referees in Spain are against Real Madrid and that they're corrupt, etc., etc. This, of course, has caused some undue influence on referees, where Real Madrid are literally influencing the competition, because now referees are scared of ruling against Real Madrid. And while ASAF are considering starting a case against Real Madrid TV for what they've been doing, because, of course, they have been defaming Spanish referees, making it seem like they're all just corrupt and they're all against Real Madrid. Can you believe that, by the way? Real Madrid claiming to be victims of bad refereeing. Historically speaking, the team that has most benefited from referee mistakes, claiming that they've been victims of refereeing. Absolutely unbelievable. But anyways, on to the next bit of news, because the new CEO of the Committee of Referees, since we're talking about referees, has been announced. Now, as I reported in a previous video, the president of the Royal Spanish Football Federation decided to fire all the members of the Committee of Referees and decided to instead restructure the body, where the body would have a CEO, a sporting director, and other new positions filled by new people. And while the new CEO is the guy that you see on your screens right now, his name is Francisco Zota, who will now lead the Committee of Referees, which is the body under the Royal Spanish Football Federation in charge of training, promoting, and demoting referees in Spain. Now, curiously enough, there have been reports stating that Francisco Zota, before he became the new CEO of the CTA, he was actually working at a big law firm, where the owner of the law firm happens to be one of Florentino Perez's partners. Now, I don't want to draw any kind of conclusions. That could be just pure coincidence, or who knows, maybe they just put another Madrid fan or another Madridista in charge of the CTA. Hopefully that's not the case, but that's what the reports are currently saying in local media in Spain. Now, on to the next bit of news, because Joan Laporta met yesterday, Wednesday, July the 2nd, with UEFA's president, Alexander Ceferin. Now, as I reported in a previous video, UEFA have decided to fine Barcelona 60 million euros for violations of the financial fair play. This has to do with the economic levers that Barcelona had activated 2 years ago or 3 years ago, where they sold club assets and used that money to kind of help the club stay afloat and also to be able to sign players. And while UEFA fined Barcelona because Barcelona were not supposed to count that money, or at least under UEFA rules, you're not supposed to count that money as income when you sell your own assets, something that La Liga does allow, and that's why Barcelona were able to do that. So Barcelona were fined 60 million euros. However, Joan Laporta was able to negotiate with Alexander Ceferin a reduction of that fine to 15 million euros. But of course, that reduction comes with some requirements where Barcelona have to meet both La Liga and UEFA's financial fair play rules. And if there's a violation, that fine goes back up to 60 million euros. And it's reported that Joan Laporta met with Alexander Ceferin yesterday in order to go over these requirements to see, what exactly is UEFA looking for and how can Barcelona comply 100%. That way that fee stays at 15 million rather than going up to 60 million euros. Now, speaking of the financial fair play, Barcelona could be getting a boost to their financial fair play pretty soon, because it's reported that Mika Marmol is very close to joining Girona. Now, the 24-year-old center back came up through the Barcelona academy. He played last season with Las Palmas, but now that Las Palmas have been relegated to second division, he, of course, is looking to leave. It was reported that Roma were very interested in activating his release clause, but they have backed away. And now it's reported that Girona are favorites to sign him. And it's reported that Girona could pay around 5 to 6 million euros for the signing of Mika Marmol. And well, since Barcelona own 50% of the rights of the player, if this transfer goes through, Barcelona could get around 2.5 to 3 million euros, which might not sound a lot, but of course, any euro counts when it comes to Barcelona's financial fair play. So hopefully this deal will go through, so Barcelona can get yet another cash influx, as they've been doing all throughout this summer with so many players that Barcelona owned rights to have been transferred. Now, we will end today's video with the news that Andreas Christensen has cut his vacation short and he is back at the Ciudad Esportiva, where he was seen training ahead of the preseason. Now, Christensen has joined 2 other players that have started training before the preseason begins, including Marc Bernal, who is training because he's trying to fully recover and be ready for the season. Also, Ibrahim Diarra, who is training ahead of the preseason because he wants to join the preseason Asia tour with the first team. And well, now Christensen has joined the 2 of them, cutting his vacation short and already training. We don't know why, but it's most likely because Christensen wants to prove himself and wants to stay at the club. Because as I reported previously, Deco has decided to put Andreas Christensen on a transfer market, but Christensen wants to stay. So this is probably the Danish player way to kind of show that, hey, I want to stay, I want to fight for my spot. But of course, it's all going to depend on that conversation that Deco is set to have with the player. We'll see if Deco ends up convincing the player to leave or whether Christensen insists on staying. Of course, I prefer Christensen stay, but we'll see what happens after that meeting. Anyways, that is all the news for this video. We'll be uploading another video in a few minutes, so stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Visca Barça.